Do you need to make a bootable Windows or Linux USB drive? Well, let me show you how. Now, before we start, I do want to mention that this specific tutorial will only work on Windows because of the software used. For this to be done on Linux, you will need UNetbootin or Ventoy. Let's start. Now, to do this, you will need Rufus, which is a software that can create bootable USB drives using mostly any ISO or disk image. Now, what you'll need to do is you'll need to make sure that your USB drive that is completely formatted is connected to your PC. So as you can see, mine is currently connected. It is the F drive, and it currently has 32 gigabytes of space completely free to use for this process. So make sure that it is selected here. Then once it's selected, you'll see the boot selection. Make sure that this is on disk or ISO image, and then click select. Now, you should already have your ISO installed here. Make sure that you click on this ISO, click open, and then everything else should configure itself if this is a compatible ISO. Now, I know that some Linux ones won't be known by Rufus, but the Windows specific ISOs can be seen by Rufus, and they will automatically set up everything like the partition scheme, target system, volume label, file system, all of this stuff. They will set this stuff up on its own because they already know what the best settings for a bootable USB drive is for Windows. But this can definitely change if you're doing something like Ubuntu or Linux Mint. So you can see that everything else is set. So you have GPT, you have UEFI, which most laptops or computers use. Then you also see the volume label. You can set this to whatever you want. I would say just keep the same, but if you do want to use this as a forever drive where you just have this set up somewhere so that anytime you need this USB drive you can find it, then you can name this drive, and then you can see that the file system is NTFS and the cluster size is the default. Once all of this is set up, you simply need to click start, and it'll ask you all of these things, unless you may need the first one, which is remove requirement for RAM, secure boot, and TPM. Then just leave all of these off and click OK. And then you'll see that in a minute, everything will start loading and it will start actually creating the drive. Click OK. OK. And then it'll delete all the partitions that are currently on that drive and then start writing this ISO to the USB drive. After about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of the ISO, everything is done. From here, you can safely eject your USB drive and plug it into whatever device you're installing the ISO on, and that's it. That's how you create a bootable USB drive.